let's talk about what's misunderstood about the whole process of freezing your eggs and what you
Yeah.
go through and the physical ramifications, emotional. So can you start from the beginning a little bit as to like the point in your life you knew you wanted to do it and, the process of the tangibles, what really happens?
I mean, I was dating,
Mhm.
and then the pandemic hit. And like many women, I mean, I read a lot about this. A lot of women were like, I was supposed to meet my husband this year, and now I'm in hiding, and I don't even think I'm going to meet anybody this year. Or like, I'm swiping on the apps, but I can't actually like physically be with anybody, much less get married and have a baby and like, sort of hit those milestones that I was trying to hit before 35. And I hit 34 during the pandemic. And I just thought maybe this is a great time because nobody's going to see me. If I'm losing my mind a little bit, it's a good time, right? Because I don't have to go to work or like have meetings, and I can get really bloated and not really worry what I look like. Well, I didn't really think about how isolating the process is. And then on top of that, you're literally isolated during a pandemic. So it was a little
Right.
bit of a double whammy. But I went in. They sort of, you do like blood tests, you do ultrasound to figure out where you are in your how what you're working with, if you will, how
Right.
your follicles are looking, how your levels are looking to be able to get pregnant. And so they sort of give you a diagnosis. Is now a good time. My doctor luckily was sort of like, you've got a little bit of time. You're not in like the danger zone, but I was sort of like, I just want to do it right now. I want to
Right.
do it. I have made my mind up. I've been mentally preparing myself. So we went into the process, which this isn't in the movie, but I actually had to go on 2 weeks of birth control um, to synchronize my follicles. And I think I even had like estrogen pills. I had like some heavy lifting to do before I actually started the process of injections. So I was like quite hormonal, even by the starting point of injections. And then I did like the most days of injections. I think I did like a full 14 days of injections. Um, and I think around halfway through that process, you start to get the hang of the needles and you mix your own meds. At first, it feels like rocket science. And then you're like, no, I got this. I figured this out. The needle is very tiny and very sharp. It goes in quite easily. I would just put frozen peas on my belly to kind of freeze it up a little bit. But about halfway through the injections, I feel like the hormones started to really, they were like little demons speaking in my ear, like telling me that I hadn't made anything of myself, that I was unlovable, that I'd blown it by being in so many failed relationships, that I maybe was never gonna find anybody and was gonna die alone. Like all of those terrible thoughts start to creep in. And then you have the surgery. You take the trigger shot, you have the surgery, and it's 15 minutes long, but you're under for it. And I remember, this is also was not in the film, but I remember hearing my voice, hearing my name, and then I kind of sat up like bawling, crying, just crying and crying and crying. And my doctor goes, "Are you in pain? Are you in pain? Are you in pain?" I was like, "No, I don't know what's happening." And he was like, "It's fine. It's just it's the hormones." But I really believe that I almost can remember it somewhere in my brain that I saw something really profound in my drug fueled sleep. And so that's why in the film you see a potential vision of what she saw, which was fully me imagining what I could have seen, because I don't remember what I saw, but it was very emotional. I almost wonder if I saw my Tia, my aunt who passed away, that I love a lot. And then I just felt such overwhelming empowerment and pride in myself, in what I was able to accomplish through this very adult process, that nobody is holding your hand. They are truly not holding your hand. You are on your own. You are figuring it out on your own. And that these little cells in the freezer, these little eggs in the freezer, are mine and mine alone, and that I made them, and that they belong to me. And I went through a quite grueling process to get them. I became very proud of myself, and I smile every day that I think of them in the freezer at the beach, I smile and I go, I'm like, so it's one of my greatest achievements. And that's why I really encourage women, if there's any thought of maybe I would like to preserve that, go get tested, go have that consultation. I can't speak to what your process is going to be like. Mine was tough, but the aftermath has been colorful and beautiful and profound.
Thank you so much for listening to Misunderstood. I'm your host, Rachel Yucatel. Please be sure to subscribe to the show and give us a 5-star rating and review. You can support the show by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/misunderstood with Rachel Yucatel. Do you have ideas for the show or want to reach out? Email us at info misunderstoodpodcast@gmail.com. That's spelled MISS understood. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.